Hello and welcome to Basins and Beer. I'm Blue Spikes. Today I'm going to talk to you about a new feature that we just released on our ESA Analytics application. And I'm drinking an Upslope beer. It's their Oktoberfest. So it's not exactly in season right now, but it's really good. So I'm going to drink it anyway. It is really good. All right, so to utilize this new tool, first thing you're going to do, as always, select a region. So I know we have good log coverage in the DJ, so I'm going to select that basin, or that region. It takes 10 or 15 seconds to load a basin this big with this much data, but that, overall, that's still pretty quick. I'm going to size by TVD, just so the dots are a little bit bigger and easier to actually select. In terms of direction, I'm going to choose vertical wells, and then for available logs, I want to make sure that every well that I'm looking at has both gamma and resistivity. Okay, so that's going to mean that every well I'm picking will give me a pretty good result, just right off the bat. So open up the map. I need that to view the wells. So zoom in on, you can see we have pretty good coverage across this entire basin. And I will select the tool that allows us to select these wells. All right, so I select my first one, and I just sort of march across the basin. Let me zoom in a little bit, makes it easier to select wells that are approximately evenly spaced, because I'm just trying to get a sense of what everything looks like across this basin, how the formations, how the structure varies, how the formation tops vary, and then, of course, how the gamma varies and resistivity. So, this is what you're looking for with any cross-section. So, that looks pretty good already. And then maybe get one all the way out here on the east side. Okay, so now I can select the button again and confirm that I'm done picking my logs. I'm going to close my map and open my cross-section tool. You can have both of them open at the same time, but then the cross-section tool's not as tall, so it's a little bit harder to see the logs. And so just like that, we have our cross-section. Now I'm going to turn off my little bug in the corner. It's going to make it easier for me to talk you through this part. So with these logs, you can see some of them are really long, some of them aren't quite as long. So this wasn't quite as obvious when I'm just looking at the map view, like which ones were more complete. So I'm going to start shutting some of these down, because I don't necessarily need to see the ones that aren't complete, because visually that just doesn't make as much sense to worry about those. So I can just hit the X for each of these, and it will close those wells. It does reset the screen, and you can see our labels are a little too wide, so that's something I need to address. We can address that real quick. Now that I'm looking at this tool, like I said, it's brand new, so I haven't had too much time to look for these little details. But I'm just going through and turning off all the ones that are maybe not quite the right amount of coverage. So this one's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Again, we'll get this fixed so that the labels are right above the log, and it's a little bit easier to shut off the ones you want, but for now this will still work. Okay, shut that one off. So we're getting there. We selected a lot of wells, so it was a pretty good chance. And of course we selected them randomly. I haven't looked at any of these yet, so I wasn't sure which ones would really look good and which ones wouldn't. So this actually looks pretty good, but a little bit more pruning. All right, so I would say there are 2 more at the very end that we should probably shut off, and then we're good. Have another sip of my beer while we're waiting. All right, one more to shut down. All right, now I can maybe turn my bug back on because I've got that out of the way. So this is now your cross section. So you can see we have tops picked across the entire basin. There are a couple missing here. And so I know now that, okay, I need to go in here and pick a couple more tops so everything's more consistent. But we've done a pretty good job. You can see the tops are consistent. One thing you can do is, right now it's automatically coloring by whatever the x-axis is. So the x-axis in this case is gamma, so it's coloring by variations in gamma. And let me zoom in on this lower Niobrara section. This is sort of the more interesting part of the DJ, is once you get into this sort of horizontal targets, the Niobrara and Codels. But another thing you can do is color by something else. So I want to color by resistivity. So I'm still looking at the gamma profile, so I know if my tops make sense, but I'm coloring by resistivity. So this is, to me, a really cool way to visualize data. So you can look at multiple properties in the same graph without having to look at multiple curves. Okay, so let me zoom in maybe a little bit more. I'm going to try to not overdo it here. Okay, so that actually does a really good job. I mean, you can see, we started on the west, and you can see it gets deeper, 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 and then it starts getting shallower. This one looks suspiciously shallow, like it doesn't grade up quite as slowly as I would have expected. So I'm going to note this as a well that probably is a deviated well, and maybe we don't have a survey for it. So it's maybe not the right depth, or maybe there's something wrong with the survey, or for all I know, maybe this is correct. I'm just guessing that I would have thought it would come down a little more gradually or come back up a little more gradually as you go to the east. But even if this is correct, I mean, you see what you want to see is it's getting deeper and then it gets shallower. So this is the shape of your basin. So, I mean, that's the whole point of showing you this tool, is just to illustrate how quick and easy it is to do this kind of work with the kind of tool we've built, especially since we've already picked the tops. I know a lot of them still need to be cleaned up. They're not perfect, but they're still pretty good. And we already have data built in. So any of the basins where we have really good log coverage, you can do this right away. I mean, that's Wyoming, that's North Dakota, that's Colorado, that's Utah, that's parts of Texas. We will be adding more wells, more logs in Texas. But those are all areas that already have good log coverage, so you can do this right away. And if you compare this to what it takes you to do on your own, even if you've already paid for a data subscription, I mean, how much work, how long would it take to get to this point? Well, with our application, it takes a few minutes. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to say cheers, and until next time.